Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist, and I help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It is in approximately 1 in 5 women, and it makes you want to break up with your partner approximately 1 to 2 weeks before your period every single month. So as someone who has suffered with PMDD for over 18 years, I dedicated my doctorate practice to helping partners navigate those monthly PMDD breakups with everything from attachment styles, triggers, sensitivity to noise, sensitivity to touch, all of the things that you really struggle with when you're in PMDD. And I also dedicated my dissertation to a phenomenological study of the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who suffer with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So I'm not just here to help the sufferer, the one who is suffering with PMDD. I am here for the partners as well. So if you need those private sessions, make sure you go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those tools. So let's get into this week's PMDD trauma transformational tools that is going to help you stop the monthly breakups and stop the suffering and stress in your PMDD relationship. Let's get into it. Today, we are going to be talking about the power of making a decision when you're on the brink of a breakup with your PMDD partner. And I know that this has happened to me so many times. And even recently, me and my PMDD partner have been having a rough couple of months, and I know what it feels like to go through a time where you're feeling like you always are on the brink of a breakup. Every single month, it's like, we almost broke up this month. We almost broke up that month. And you're always in that in-between space. And I've been there a lot lately, this last couple, at first I was going to say couple of months, but it's literally been this whole year. And my PMDD partner even recognized it because he sent me a text about 2 weeks ago. And he was just like, thank you for being there for me and really being my rock and being so supportive this last 2 years, because I know it's been really hard for you. So as you know, if you listen to my prior episodes, that my PMDD partner has been going through a lot of health scares. And the latest health scare, he went into another surgery. So earlier in this year, we had a cancer scare, and then he had a tumor removed because of that. And then less than a month later, I went to see him for an emergency gallbladder removal surgery. And if you're in the Breakup Proof Academy, you know exactly what I'm talking about because I laid it all out. I try to be real and raw in there because that is my safe place. So if you have not joined the PMDD Partners Breakup Proof Academy, go to the show notes and join. It is a safe place that even I use. So even I at times need a safe place to just say what's going on with my relationship, and not in a way to say that I want to break up with my PMDD partner, but it is a way of venting, but not for the purpose of breaking up. There's so many other forums that you can go to where you start to vent and you start to say, oh my goodness, I'm thinking about breaking up with my PMDD partner. And automatically there's so many people that are rushing to tell you, yeah, you need to break up with them. You deserve better than that. But they're not the ones that are in love with your partner. They're not in love with them. And so they can almost convince you to do something that those intrusive thoughts are telling you to do, without actually knowing that you genuinely want to be with your PMDD partner. You're just frustrated in the moment. You're stressed out in the moment. And that's where I've been. And I've needed to lean into the community. And I'm so grateful for it because no one in the community, even at times where I'm like, maybe we shouldn't be together, like no one in the community was like, oh yeah, you probably shouldn't be with them. Everybody was like, no, you know that that's your person. And that's what I want to talk to you about, was one of the most powerful tools that I use with all of my private clients and I've used for so many years. And that is asking yourself, is your PMDD partner your person? This is a question that I ask pretty much at the end of every session, at the end of every training that I have in the Breakup Proof Academy, because it all comes down to answering that question. Is your PMDD partner your person? I literally have in my phone my husband saved as my person. And there's a reason behind that. There's a psychology behind deciding that regardless of what happens, regardless of how much I'm stressed out, regardless of how much I'm frustrated, regardless of how much I'm triggered, I'm still committing to my PMDD partner being my person, right? You're taking ownership of whatever's going on with them and you're saying, this is mine. It's almost like having a child. Like you can go through a lot of things with your children. Right now I have a teenager. So like, just imagine going through all of these stages of their, when they're a toddler, when they're a baby, all of these things that they're doing that are frustrating you, but you're still saying, this is my child. And it's the same thing with your PMDD partner. You're literally saying at the end of the day, regardless of what they said, regardless of what they did, regardless of how I felt about it, this is my person. So I know for me, I can say this with 3 specific echelons. I have a 14-year-old daughter, Veronica. I have a 7-year-old puppy. Well, I keep saying puppy. He's a dog. He's 7 years old. A Shih Tzu, like a Shih Tzu Maltese mix. And I have a husband. And with all 3 of them, they are my entities. I take full responsibility for whatever it is that they do. I don't ask anyone else to take the blame for it. I don't ask anyone to pick up the slack for it. If anything happens when my daughter, is in school and anything happens, I'm always there. I'm like, okay, this is my daughter. I'm going to handle it. If anything happens with my puppy, he craps on the ground, he pees on somewhere, like I take full responsibility. But a lot of times when we get to our partners, we're like, I don't want to take responsibility. He's a grown adult or she's a grown adult. She should be able to take responsibility. Like you're almost putting them in a category where you're not owning the fact that you're committed to being with this person. This is your person. And there is a great level of responsibility that's tied to that. So a lot of times when you're on the brink of a breakup, you're thinking that everything's optional. Should I be with this person? Should I not be with this person? What would my life be like without this person? Would someone else be better? And it's like, you don't do that with any other entity that you have in your life. Some of you don't even do it. If you don't have children, some of you don't do it with your careers. You don't have a career where you're thinking about it, you're having a bad day at work. And then you're all of a sudden, you may think about, oh, I'm going to quit this job and I'm going to go work somewhere else, but you don't actually do it. Your actions don't show that. You show the same level of commitment because at the end of the day, you know that this is my job. At the end of the day, you know that this is what pays me. This is what employs me. And the same thing with your pets. Your pet may pee all over your floor. Your pet may break up stuff, chew up stuff. I know my dog, when he was a puppy, he used to chew up, oh my goodness, the iPhone cords, like, oh my gosh, like the one for my iMac and the one for my iPad and like all the expensive ones, not like the cheapo ones, like literally the ones that cost like $79, $100. And he would chew them up because he was in that realm of like chewing on everything. And what did I do? I went out and bought another one because I was taking full responsibility. Well, this is my puppy. This is the stage that he's in. So I'm just going to go buy another one. Did I yell at my puppy? No, I didn't. I know some people do, but like, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what is the purpose? He doesn't understand what you're saying, or she doesn't understand what you're saying. But then when it comes to our partners, you get to the point where you're yelling at them, you're screaming at them, you're telling them they should be better. You're acting like they're not your responsibility. You're acting like they're their own responsibility and you're your own responsibility. You're not acting like you're actually connected to them in a way that you're in an intimate relationship together. You're saying, I just can't wait. They just need to get their self together. They need to get their stuff together. They need to get better at this. They need to get better at that. Well, that's part of your responsibility. You are in a committed relationship. And I think a lot of times when we get into PMDD, we feel like we have all of this burden and responsibility of managing our symptoms and surviving through our symptoms, that we're forgetting that we have a whole other person that we are in like responsible for. Anything that happens within your relationship, you have a part in it. My PMDD partner is so big on taking responsibility. Yes, we may have issues in our relationship, and he'll always say, and what is your part in it? Because he wants to know that everybody in the relationship is taking responsibility. And a lot of times, I may not want to admit it, but it takes two to tango. It takes two to fight. It takes two to argue. It takes two to say hurtful words. And even when you're not saying hurtful words, if you're the one that shuts down, you still have to take responsibility for that. So you get to a point where you're detaching from that being your person. And so I want to ask you right now, like I do in the PMDD Partners Breakup Proof Academy, I'll be teaching a lesson and I'll literally have you circle around and be like, but at the end of the day, is this your person? Are you committing to being with this person? Because that is a daily commitment, whether you're in PMDD or you're not. And especially when you're in PMDD. When you go into PMDD and you start to doubt whether you should be with your partner, you start to doubt whether this is the right person for you. You start to doubt if you deserve better. You're questioning if this is your person. And this is why you're having a lot of the stress and a lot of the anxiety and a lot of the doubt and a lot of the fear, because you have yet to make that decision. And I know what that feels like because I've been in that place before where I was literally questioning it every single month. And it brought me so much stress. It honestly brought me a lot of stress to have to ask myself this question every single month and not know the answer. I never knew whether this was my person. I never knew whether this was going to be the month that I just got tired of it, because I was always leaving that door open of saying, is this my person? Is this not my person? Should I be with them? Should I not be with them? I was always leaving the door open. When you leave the door open, there's so many fears, so many doubts, so many insecurities, so many things that cause your mind to just spiral, so many intrusive thoughts, instead of just making a decision, because you know what it is. You know what happened? And it happened to me, I would say about 2 years ago, where we were going back and forth on a month-to-month basis. I was exhausted. And I don't know if you've ever been there where you've been like, every single month it's something. And I'm exhausted from having to decide whether I'm going to be with this person or not every single month. Whether you're married, whether you're in a committed relationship, whether you're dating, every single month I would go into PMDD. We would end up having a fight. I would end up getting so stressed and overwhelmed that I would be like, you know what, you can go. And then we would get into the thing of, I would regret it later on because I would calm down from my emotions and I would think about the whole picture of like, well, I actually do want to be with him. I actually do want to stay in this marriage. I actually do want the life that I committed to. So what does that look like? Now I have to go and take the eraser and erase all the damage that I've done. We have to go have these long drawn out conversations where I'm saying, no, I really didn't want to break up with you. I really want to be with you. And then they're like, well, why did you say this? And then you have to explain why you said that you wanted to break up. And it almost makes you feel like, never mind, I should just stick with the original thought of breaking up, because I don't want to explain why I don't want to break up when I said that I wanted to break up, because I no longer feel like I want to break up, because I've taken some time and now I'm in tune with what I really want, which is to not break up. So this is a pattern that I was going through month after month after month, and only during PMDD. I never did it in my follicular days, in my good days. I would have little things that would trigger me, but nothing to the effect of I would start to question, whether I was going to be with my PMDD partner. And I did this so many months until 2 years ago. I made the scariest commitment ever, but it's been the best thing for my PMDD relationship. And you would think, well, you're already committed. You're already married. Like I have private clients that are dating and they're not at the point of marriage yet. So they're like, obviously you made the ultimate commitment. You're married. Well, I have so many private clients, and including myself, where married or not, I've questioned it. I've related like it's an option. We've thrown out the D word. We've thrown out divorce so many times where it was just like, we almost got desensitized to it. It was like, oh, let me guess, you want to get a divorce again? Like and even when you get engaged, it's like, oh, give me the ring back. It's like, oh, let me guess, you want the ring back. And before I had the tools, when I had PMDD, before I met my PMDD partner, It was even worse. You know, my ex called me the runaway bride. I was engaged 6 times before I actually got married to my PMDD partner, engaged to 6 different people with 6 different rings, with 6 different proposals. So I had quote unquote committed, but not really committed, right? I committed, but then as soon as they did something that triggered me in PMDD, I was out. And I remember some of them would ask for the ring back, some of them would not. I remember one time an ex asked for the ring back and just, I don't know, I was in PMDD and I was like, you don't get the ring back. Like, it's a gift. And I went through so much turmoil with that, not because I wanted to keep the ring, but because I was being petty and I was in PMDD and I didn't know how to like control my PMDD rage. But yeah, 6 different times I made this commitment. 6 different times. I'm like, yeah, I'll marry you. I'll spend the rest of my life with you. As soon as I went into PMDD, I'm like, absolutely not. I would never spend the rest of my life with you. Like, that's how it was. That's genuinely how it was for me before I used the tools. So that's why I can relate to my private clients so much, because I know what it feels like to feel in one moment when you're in your follicular days that you're all in. You're all in, you're fully committed, you're never going to break up. You see yourself with this person and you get into PMDD and it's like, who sent this person here? I'm completely disgusted with them. I'm repulsed by them. I physically am not attracted to them. I'm emotionally not attracted to them. I could do better by myself. For all the stuff that I'm dealing with, I could deal with it better on my own. Like, you just get to that point where you're completely disgusted and you're uninterested and you feel like you don't need them for anything. Because I used to be like that. I used to be like, whatever it is that you can do for me, I can do for myself. So what else you got? Like, I used to come into relationships like that where when I wanted to break up, there was nothing that they could offer me that I couldn't offer myself because I could genuinely do it. You know, I could financially support myself. Okay, so you can't throw money in my face. I could physically get a vibrator. I could please myself. So now what are you going to do? I could spend time with our daughter and like, she's completely fine. Like, so I don't even need another parent. I'm one of those people that can do a lot of things alone, which is very, very dangerous, I would say, for being a avoidant PMDD partner. Cause I love going to the movies alone. I love going to the mall alone. I love going to the grocery store alone. So I didn't necessarily get married for companionship. My partner did. I did not. And a lot of times I have to think about that. Like, that's the part that I'm like, well, what the heck do I need a PMDD partner for if I'm happy genuinely by myself? And I used to get to that point where I would think that every single month, well, what do I need? I remember saying, I really want to have someone that can give me something that I can't give myself, because I had gotten so independent that when I was on the brink of a breakup, I broke up immediately. Like, there was nothing that held me back, because they would say, oh, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do this for you. And all of the things that they said that they could do, I could do for myself. So I was like, and then what? And it was with my PMDD partner that I decided that this was my person. And at the end of the day, no matter how much we argued, no matter how much we fought, no matter how frustrated I got, no matter how stressed out I got, no matter what words were said, this is my person, because I saw my future that was very much aligned, not just for where I was in the moment, but for where I was going. When I thought about the type of person that I would want to live with, be with, for where I'm going, that was my PMDD partner. And not everyone can deal with my lifestyle. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to really think about what makes your PMDD partner so unique, because that's what I had to do. I had to think about, what does my PMDD partner have that none of my exes have, that no one that I've met has, because that's going to be the thing that's really going to keep me. It's going to keep reminding me that this is my person. And when I tell you, I'm going to go back and tell you a little bit about our engagement story, because it's going to give you a little bit of insight into how I figured out this is my person. So I had dated earlier in my journey, I had dated a lot of different people. And I just want to preface that when I say dated, that doesn't mean I slept with them. I actually haven't slept with a lot of people, but I know when I talk about my past, they're like, oh my gosh, you're a little, you're out there. And it's like, no, I actually have like, and you could, well, I was supposed to say you can ask my PMDD partner, but I actually, refrain from sleeping with PMDD partners for, in the beginning, it was for a certain amount of time. And then after that, it was until I felt comfortable. Like I had to feel like ready, because I'm a sapiosexual, which means that I get, turned on by like intellectual things. It's not just about, oh, you look hot, I'm gonna like have sex with you. Like that's not a thing. Like there needs to be more to it, because I'm intellectually stimulated. Why am I telling you this? Anyway, now that you know how to turn me on, by reading a book, I'm gonna tell you about how I decided that, when I met my PMDD partner, there was this instant knowing, and that I hadn't felt with anyone else, that I tried to feel with other people, but it hadn't necessarily worked out. So I was in a place in my life where I had been single for 2 years. And I really just was like, I'm ready to be in a relationship. And so I was dating, and everybody that I was dating had this long list. And I was like, okay, I'm good with the list. Like I can do a good list. Like I'm a checklist person. And they're like, do you have this, this, and this? And for me, the checklist meant if you have the things that are on the checklist, then we're good. We're going to be together forever. Like that's it. Like I learned is that everyone else in the world, like I didn't know that I was so different in a sense that I, you know, I just basically thought that whatever it is to the issues that we have, whatever it is to the things that we need to work out, we'll just work it out within the realms of marriage. Like what better way to work things out than to be married and committed? Like commitment is huge for me. I don't like teetering the line. I don't like being in the middle where it's like, oh, oh my gosh, that's the part of dating that I hated. Like we're talking. Like, what does that mean? Or we're not exclusive. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's one of the reasons why I didn't sleep with people a lot of times. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, either we're together, because I'm a very black and white, like either we're together or we're not. Like, there was this period of dating where people were like, oh, I'm like, it's almost like they were playing the field. Like they were just like weighing their options. And that was such an uncomfortable place for me. That's when I did have an anxious attachment style, because I was like, are you going to call me? Are you not going to call me? Like, do we talk in the evenings? Do we not talk? Do we say good morning every morning? Do you only send me the good morning text, but not the rest of the day? Like, are we saying good morning, but not good night? Like there was so many dating rules that I was like, this is stupid. Like either you want to be with me and me only, or what are we doing? Or find someone to where you have that conviction. That's what I would say. Like, and I'm going to do some series on dating, because I know there's a lot of, listeners that are like, I'm not in a relationship, or I'm just dating. And so what do I do in that realm? And I'm going to cater to that, because I have a lot of private clients that are like, you never talk about that. You only talk about people that are already in the relationship. So I'm going to talk about dating really soon. But like for right now, I'll just tell you how it was when I was dating. I was very much either you figure out what you need to know about me, you spend time with me, and you decide if I'm who you want to be with. And I remember I was dating this one guy, and I won't say names. I'm going to write a book at some point, so I have to get like those pseudonames, those fake names. But I have like the book that's coming out, and it's going to be about all my exes. Like you're going to love it, because it's so juicy. Like my best friend Angie, like she's been with me from the beginning, so she's always like, oh, this is going in the book, this is going in the book. And I'm like, now that I'm finished my dissertation and my doctorate, I'm ready to write the book. But one of my exes, I was like, oh my god, on paper, he was like on point. Like we looked good together, our careers aligned. I think that I actually think that was it, because when you went below the surface, I was like personality wise, I was willing to overlook a lot of stuff. So I'm like, you know how like if you're really attracted to someone, or you feel like they're picture perfect, you kind of like, oh, well, I can make that work. I can do that, whatever. So I was just like, oh yeah, I could make this work. So let's be together. So in my mind, right? So when he was so like weird in a sense where he would like be fully invested, be full all in, be communicating a lot, and then he would go ghost. And I'm like, oh, I guess it's not going to work because I'm very black and white. I'm like, oh, I haven't heard from him in 2 days. I guess it's not going to work. Then he would come back and he would just go all in and start talking to me again. And I'm like, what? Like, what is this? Like, what are we doing? So I remember one time I finally decided, like, I'm going to call him out because I can't deal with this, like, back and forth. Like, what are we doing? And then he said, what do you expect me to do? Drop everything I'm doing in my life and fully commit to you for the rest of my life? And I was literally like, yes, that's exactly what I want you to do. Because in my mind, if you meet the person that meets your criteria and you're connecting on a certain level, that's it. What are you still searching for? What are you waiting for? And so I was like, and he was so baffled. He was like, what, who does that? He was like, I could never just do that. It's going to take me time. What I mean by time, like we had already been talking for like almost over a year. I could see myself like I think there was a show that was like the 5-year engagement or something like that would have been us because he was just on that. Like, I need to think about it for 40 days and 40 nights. Like, why? If you're going to either choose me or don't, and I'm fine either way, but just like, don't leave me in the middle. So the reason why I knew that my PMDD partner was my person was because when we first met, we were both in the military, and we still are. And if you listen to my episode on how I became a doctor, you know all about my past. You know that I'm in the military. You know my PMDD partner's in the military. And he was like, we met when he was on leave and I was still working, but I was living in Hawaii, living my best life. I mean, you couldn't offer me anything anywhere else. I was going to Fiji, Australia. I was like in Hawaii. I was like hiking mountains in the morning and meditating and like being at the beach and going on catamaran cruises with like, I was in the best shape of my life. I was eating really good food. I was spending so much time with my daughter. Like, I had a group of friends that was amazing. Like, you couldn't offer me anything. And that was the point where I knew that this is my person, because that's exactly what I prayed for. I was like, listen, give me somebody that can give me something that I can't give myself. And when I met my PMDD partner, it was so random when I met him, and he was just so, like, it was like a mirror. It was like whatever I would say, it seemed like he was saying it the same way. He was very motivational, very inspiring, very positive, very carefree. And I didn't realize till later on that he has another side because he's a Gemini. So like there's that. But yeah, so when we met, and then after we met, we talked on the phone like all night long, you know, of course, like high school. And then he was like, what are you doing tomorrow? And I was, what was I doing? I was going to go watch the moon. I am like an advocate for the moon. I've always loved the full moon. Like, I'm a moon person. I don't really know like what all the moon means, but I've always been drawn. Like, even my daughter, like, she's 14, and when there's a full moon, she's like, oh, mommy, it's a full moon. Or when it's half, she'd be like, oh, mommy, it's half off. Like I've always loved the moon. And so I was going to go hike to the top of this mountain around midnight and watch the full moon. And I was living in Hawaii. So this is like a thing. Like, there were other people that were going to be there at the top of the mountain, and it was like a vibe. And he was like, I'll take you. Like, I know where that is. I'll take you. So first of all, you know where that is. Like, I was so impressed. I was like, oh, okay. So he knows his way around the island, and I'm an explorer. I'm a traveler. So I'm like, okay, so you can show me something. Again, remember what I asked for. Remember what I prayed for. I said, someone that can do something for me that I can't do for myself. And I'm like, okay, so you're going to guide me, you know, up this mountain, you know, all these things. So he did that. And we went to the top, and oh my gosh, I will never forget this. When he came to pick me up from my high-rise condo that was in downtown Waikiki, oh my gosh, like literally I had floor to ceiling views of the ocean as my bedroom and living room, and all around my condo's like windows. And that was like my view. And he came to pick me up, and I came downstairs, and I was literally wearing a shirt that said Young, Wild, and Free. Like, so that already tells you, you know, a lot about me. And so I came downstairs and he had bought me a gift, like not just one gift. First of all, he brought me a rose, like hello, like, you know, I'm obsessed with roses, aka the name. And he brought me a bottle of Merlot. During the conversation that we had, I had mentioned, he was like, oh, you know, blah, blah, socializing. He's like, do you drink? I said, yeah. And I was like, I love wine. I love red wine. He's like, what's your favorite kind? I randomly said Merlot because it was. And, but I didn't spend a lot of time on it. So when he picked me up, he had a bottle of Merlot and then he had a mug, which I am a sucker for a quote. And so I'm a sucker for, um, not just a quote, but like cutesy ones. And so he bought me a mug that said "Kiss Me, Maybe," and it was like from that song. And it's like, hey, I just met you. This is crazy, but you know, here's my number. So call me maybe. Like it was that song, but like he put like "Kiss Me, Maybe" on, like, well, he didn't put it, but he bought the mug that said that. He bought me a card. So he bought me in a gift bag, right? So like in an actual gift bag. So a gift bag with Merlot, a mug and a red rose. And I was just like, okay, this is actually something I couldn't do for myself. And he didn't make a big deal about it. You know how when people get you stuff and you could tell that they're doing it for the sake of like, I'm trying to get something out of this. He literally did it like out of like, this is his character. And to this day, every time I see him, he has a gift for me. Like there's never been a time where I see him and he doesn't have something for me, whether it's a trinket, a purse, like it's just, he always is gifting me things. So that's part of his love language. And he showed me that from the beginning. So, he got me that. And then we went to the mountain. It was beautiful. And I could tell that the moon wasn't something that he was into, but it was something that I was into. And so he was like enjoying it. And then we had our first kiss on top of the mountain. Very memorable. I was like, oh my gosh. And then we just spent every day together after that. And he was just so obsessed with me. Like we're like, oh, I'm gonna talk to you, you know, tomorrow evening. And then he would like call midday, like I couldn't wait that long. Like I just wanted to hear your voice. And like I love that energy. It was a decision that he made. And I remember he said something to me. And I remember I had never heard this from another man before. And he said, I value you. And I was like, I've heard I love you, I care about you, or whatever. But he said, I value you. And I remember thinking about that, like, you value me. Like that's different. And what he meant was at the time he was, I guess, talking, because you know, remember we talked about that talking phase. He was talking to other people. He met me, went out with me on that first like official date and stopped talking to everyone else. Because he said, I value you. I knew, like, when I met you, like, you were it for me. Like, he kept saying, I'm all in. And I remember he was saying he was all in before I was all in. Like, I was still, like, not really fully believing that this was, like, a thing, that someone could just make a decision as quickly as he did. But it was much in line with what I prayed for. Like I said, I wanted someone that was sure about me. I didn't want to convince anyone, like, you should be with me. I'm so great. But that was the vibe that I was getting. That was so annoying to me because I'm just like, what are you like? I felt like it was like a cop out, like an excuse to play the field. Like, because how much time is it going to take for you to be with me, for you to decide if you want to be with me? Like, I don't know. So, and I felt like, you know, logistics, you're always going to have to work out like day-to-day routines. Like all of this, you're going to have to work out when you get married. But if you genuinely want marriage, why not work that out with the person that you want to be with? And so that was the thing that my PMDD partner brought to me, where I was like, you know what? This is my person, because this is the person that when they decide to do something, they're all in. That was very much aligned with my mindset in every area of my life, including my business here. When I decided I wanted to do my dissertation on PMDD, when I decided I want to serve this community, I was, you know, serving other communities with trauma, with different things. But when I decided on PMDD, everything about my business became about PMDD. because I decided these are my people. PMDD partners are my people. This is my community. These are the individuals that I'm going to serve, and that's it. So what I'm telling you is there's so much power in if you just make the decision about, is this your PMDD partner, everything else will fall into place. But if you're in that line, like I was telling you that those people were that I was dating, where it's like, oh, I don't know, I'm going to see how this goes this month. I'm going to see how this goes. I'm going to see how you treat me, in the next couple of weeks when I'm in PMDD. I'm going to see how you treat me next month. You're going to be in a lot of stress and a lot of turmoil because a decision has not been made. You're not committing to your PMDD partner. And I don't think that you realize that, because I don't think that a lot of my exes that I was dating realized that. By not choosing me, you were in a sense not choosing me. Do you see what I mean? By showing me that you are not willing to go all in and say, this is my person, I'm denying everyone else, this is the person that I'm investing my energy into, you're in a sense telling me you're not sure about me. So if you know that you're in that place with your PMDD partner where every single month you're having a question, should I be with them? Should I not be with them? You're not committed. You are not committed to your PMDD partner if you're second guessing whether you should be with them every single month. And I know that's a shock to you, because it was a shock for me when I realized that. And I had to be very honest with myself and be like, you know what? I'm actually not committed. I actually am questioning this. And I don't think that you realize it, because you're like, no, I'm in this relationship. I'm in this marriage. I'm dating this person exclusively. We're completely monogamous. I'm not talking to anyone else. But you're not committed until you go through something really hard and you're not questioning whether you're going to be with them or not. And that's why this is such a powerful tool that I use with my private clients, and especially in the Breakup Proof Academy. So again, if you have not joined, and you know that you need that reminder, this is why we have sessions in the Breakup Proof Academy every single week. Because every single week I have to tell myself this, if not every day. I have to decide. Every single week I would say I go through something with my PMDD partner. So I don't want you to think I use the tools and I don't go through anything, and this is just like all the stuff I've gone through in the past. Every single thing that I go through with my PMDD partner, I have to ask myself this question. Is my PMDD partner my person? And if the answer is yes, you will be surprised at how your mindset will start to shift about how you're approaching anything that you're going through with your PMDD relationship. You're all of a sudden going to begin to look at it like, okay, so this is my person. So we got to for sure work this out. We got to work out this. Like, now you can address the issue at hand. But if you're still deciding whether you're going to be with the person, you can't even get to the actual issue that you have. So this month with my PMDD relationship, we're dealing a lot with intrusive thoughts. And that's what we're working on in the Breakup Proof Academy. So as I'm working through things with my PMDD partner, these are the lessons that I'm teaching you in the Breakup Proof Academy. And intrusive thoughts have been huge for everything that we've gone through, specifically with his surgeries and us spending time apart. There's been a lot of that. So if you want to hear the background of everything that we've gone through, join the PMDD Partners Breakup Proof Academy. That's where I'm really going to be pouring out what's going on and how I'm working through it. Because I know that you have stuff going on with you. And last month, we dealt with conflict, the 4 pillars of PMDD conflict. And we went in depth with what it is that comes up for you, and then what are the tools that you can do about it. So every single month within the academy, we have a different topic, and then I give you the tools on what to do with it. And this month, we're in the second week of it, and I'm talking about, intrusive thoughts, because a lot of times when you get into, this realm of conflict, you have these lies that are being told in your mind that are making you second guess if this is your person. It's making you look at other people sometimes, look at exes and seeing the best of them. And please don't do that. Like, I've been there. I'm like, why in the world was I thinking about my ex, dreaming about my ex, wondering like all of these things? It's because the intrusive thoughts that's how you know the intrusive thoughts have gone too far. You've let them gone deep into your psyche to where they're embedded in there. And so, as we're talking about, is my PMDD partner my person, I want to give you some tools on why making this decision is so impactful for your relationship. Making a decision, number one, This is my first PMDD trauma transformational tool. And I'm giving you some behind the scenes of the tool that I use in the Breakup Proof Academy. So you need to know that the tools that you're listening to on the podcast are great. And I always tell private clients, if you say you can't commit to the academy, keep listening to the podcast. But if you really are ready to really work on the specific issues that you have going on in your PMDD relationship, and you're tired of trying to figure it out on your own and going through month to month where you're stressed out, then you need to join the academy where you're actually getting actual advice for weekly, like, hey, you know, you can put it in the group. This is what I have going on, Dr. Rose. Like, what do you think I should do? Not throwing it out there to a group of people that are not professionals and that are going to tell you, you need to break up. You deserve better than that. Like, that's what I was faced with. That's why I created the Breakup Proof Academy, because I went and I'm like, okay, so what do these people do? Like how I used to be when they're going through something in their PMDD relationship. And I saw the forums and I saw where everyone was basically telling them, you need to break up. You deserve better than this. And it's like, wait a minute. I'm like, so no one is telling them that they shouldn't break up. No one is telling them that this is actually something that is directly related to PMDD and that it can be solved and that it can be dealt with tools that are strategically designed for PMDD, not a therapist, counselor, psychotherapist, psychologist that knows nothing about PMDD, but someone that actually knows that PMDD is orchestrating these doubts in your mind. PMDD is the one that's making you feel this way. So the Breakup Proof Academy is a customized community that is going to give you the tools for what it is that when you feel like breaking up, and it's very common. And I think it's so disheartening when I see these forums where no one is telling them, hey, you're going to feel like you want to break up with your PMDD partner every month, but that doesn't mean that you're really supposed to. Like, I was in such a vulnerable state when I used to be, before I had the tools. I was in such a vulnerable state where anything that anyone told me, I was like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to break up. Okay, I'm not supposed to be with them. And I even did it sometimes. And then after that, I felt horrible. And I really believe that I let go of some really good PMDD partners because I listened to people telling me, oh, you just need to give up, like, and just, you know, break up because you deserve better than that. Well, after you've broken up with a lot of people, you're like, well, what is it that I do deserve? Like, because here's what I want to tell you. If you have PMDD, you are going to have to use these tools with whatever partner that you have. You're not going to get a prepackaged PMDD partner that's going to automatically know what PMDD is, automatically know the tools, and that's going to be your person. They're going to have to work on it. And if you're in a place in your relationship where you know that your PMDD partner needs to work on stuff, you know that there's things that when you go into PMDD, you need to apply for my 2-month private PMDD partner sessions and join the academy. So here's why I say you need to do both, because the most success that I have found is the clients that do both, because they have the weekly session with me where they're discussing everything that's going on in their PMDD relationship. And then they also have the lessons they're being taught within the academy and the group aspect of it, where you're seeing that there's other individuals that are going through things that you're going through. And then also you have direct access to me on a daily basis because things come up in your PMDD relationship. And my private clients can attest to that. If anything's going on 24 hours a day, they can message me because I have clients in 54 states, or 54 countries. PMDD is worldwide, obviously, if it's 1 in 20. And I don't even know if that number has like spread, but you have to think everyone's going through this, right? So time zones don't matter. Within 24 hours, I will respond to you. And I don't know where you can get that type of support anywhere. Well, no, you cannot get that type of support anywhere else. Where I know I've been in counseling before. I've been in therapy before with trauma, childhood trauma, like I told you before. And it was like, I have 1 session a week. Everything that I have to go through, I deal with in that 1 session. If anything else happens outside of that, I have to hold it in until my next session. And I vowed when I became a doctor, I would never be like that, because I know that if you have a session with me on Thursday, something may happen on Friday or Saturday or Tuesday. And it may happen way before our next session. And I don't want you doing damage or even hurting or being in pain in between. So my clients have 24/7 access to me. Am I going to like answer like within 5 minutes? No, but within 24 hours, you will have an answer from me. I'm not going to let a day go by where you reach out to me and you're my private client and you say, hey, I'm dealing with this in my relationship and I don't respond to you. That's the level of support that I give to the Breakup Proof Academy and my private clients. So I would advise, if you're in that place of like trying to decide, I don't know where I should get started, start with both. At least do 2 months of private sessions with me. And then if you feel like you and your partner, or just you, because I do private sessions with just one partner. If you feel like you're in a place where you feel like you can manage it on your own with just being in the academy, go ahead. But we need to uncover so you can get the basics of the tools so you can stop like stressing and suffering with your PMDD relationship. PMDD has so many other symptoms. I deal with them on a monthly basis. I'm not exempt. This past month was like irritability, fatigue, and depression were my 3 highlights. Every single month I have different highlights, but those were my big ones. And I was like, it was hitting me hard. And I was like, oh my God. And irritability for me started on day 1. Like, I was like, man, like normally my symptoms like trickle in, but like day 1, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I was immediately irritated with my PMDD partner. Like, stop breathing. It's bothering me. But let me get into the PMDD trauma transformational tools that are going to help you with making a decision and deciding, is my PMDD partner my person? The first PMDD trauma transformational tool is improved communication. So when you make a decision that this is your person, it requires open and honest communication, and this is going to strengthen your relationship. So this means that if I'm telling you at the end of the day, and this has helped my PMDD partner who has an anxious attachment style. When I tell him, whatever we go through, at the end of the day, you're my person. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be with you. I'm committed to this marriage. I'm committed to this relationship. Me being able to communicate that with confidence has really helped him to have less anxiety, because that can ease all of the doubts, all of the fears that he may have, because I'm literally telling you, yes, what I'm going through is horrible. Yes, what you're going through is horrible, but I'm committing to you. Like, you're my person. There's no one else that I want to do this with. I want to do this with you, and I know that we'll get through it. The next PMDD trauma transformational tool is increased trust. So when you successfully make a decision to be together, you're building trust with your PMDD partner. That means I can trust that whatever we go through, you're not going to leave me. You're not going to cheat on me. You're not going to do me dirty. You're not going to do all these things because you're committed into saying that you're my person. And that's one thing that me and my PMDD partner have mastered, is that we've gone through some really ugly times. But by the time we wake up the next morning, and I don't know what it is about, like, I know it is for him. I know for me, it used to take me 3 to 4 days, but now I'm with him. Like, we wake up the next day and it's like, you're my person. Like, you're my person. Like, we need to work on, like, yesterday was ugly, but you like, at the end of the day, you're my person. And so the third PMDD trauma transformational tool is dealing with conflict, fights, and arguments. Decision-making may lead to disagreements because you don't see things on the same page. But when you decide that you're my person, like I'm on your side, it can help us resolve the issue even better, because I'm saying it's not me going through something and I'm fighting against you. I'm saying we're fighting together because we want to get together and come up with a resolution that fits the both of us. So making a decision to say you're my person means that we're not fighting each other. We're fighting the issue. And that's what I always say. If you want to cause PMDD to be the issue, let's fight against PMDD. We don't care about it. We don't like it. We don't like it. It's not our friend. So I'm fine with you saying F PMDD. Like, I don't care about that. Like, we don't want PMDD anyway. So if you're going to be mad at anybody, anything, be mad about PMDD, not your partner. PMDD is the problem, not your partner. So let's talk about how bad PMDD is together. Like, let's together talk about the things that's actually causing the problem, instead of us putting it on the other person and saying, you're the problem because of this and you're the problem because of that. And that's one of the things that we talked about in the Breakup Proof Academy when we talked about the 4 pillars of PMDD conflict. One of them was blaming. So if you know that that's something that you do, and that's something that I'm guilty of, whenever we go into fighting, the first thing I do is start blaming. Whenever we go into fighting, the first thing my partner does is get defensive. So I did a module on defensiveness, and we did a module on blaming, because it's very common with, one of you are usually blaming each other all the time, and one of you are usually getting defensive, and which makes you all walk on eggshells. So the next PMDD trauma transformational tool is intimacy. When you decide that this is your person and you say, you know what, regardless, you're my person, I'm saying I'm connected to you. You're building that emotional connection in the sense that I am leaning into what it is that you're feeling. Now I'm curious about, what are you feeling? What are you thinking? What is your point of view? Because I'm trying to be intimate with you. I'm trying to see things from your perspective, instead of just saying, I feel like this and I feel like this and you need to do this. You're developing that bond of intimacy by deciding, you're my person, so I know how I feel. Let me know how you feel. The next PMDD trauma transformational tool is empowerment. I felt so strong about going into any realm of conflict with my PMDD partner when I knew that I was solid and like, yeah, my PMDD partner might be driving me crazy right now. Yeah, he may be getting on my nerves. Yeah, I may not like his behavior. Yeah, whatever. But I felt empowered by knowing I don't have to make a decision. I know that this is the person I'm going to be with. And I know that the negative emotions that I may be feeling are temporary. It's that level of comfort where you're like, I may go through a temporary discomfort, but at the end of the day, this is my person. And the next PMDD trauma transformational tool is stress reduction. I'm going to do a separate podcast on this, but stress is the number one killer for your PMDD relationship. Also, the number one thing that contributes to the PMDD monthly breakups. You get stressed, you get overwhelmed, you need to get out, you think you want to break up. So by making the decision to be with your PMDD partner, you're saying to yourself, you know what? I want to be with them. I want to be with them. So it reduces your stress of having to make that decision. Because if you're thinking back and forth, should I be with them? You're going by scenario, by words that they said. You're going through this long, in-depth process of figuring out, should I be with this person? And that takes up a lot of your energy, a lot of your time, and it causes you a lot of stress because you end up going through everything and still not knowing the answer, which is horrible. So you're going back and forth in your mind, but you're never getting the end of the day, like this is the right thing to do. You're still feeling confused. You're still feeling unsure. You're still feeling like, if I feel like breaking up every single month, should I just break up? Like, is that the thing that I'm supposed to be doing? It reduces the stress by saying, no, you're not supposed to break up. Yes, you may feel like it, but you're not supposed to break up. So the next PMDD trauma transformational tool is your alignment of goals. When I decided that my PMDD partner was my person, one of the main reasons that helped me do that was thinking about when we first started talking and thinking about, what are my goals for my life? What are my partner's goals for his life? Are they aligned? If we're both working towards common goals, that is a big indicator that yes, this is my PMDD partner, and I don't have to worry about second guessing it, because at the end of the day, we may be going through a rough patch right now, but I know that this is my person because we're going in the same direction. We are paddling our kayak in the same direction. And I'm using kayak as a reference because that's something that me and my daughter did, like when we were in Hawaii, a lot. And it takes a lot of coordination. If the person in the back of the kayak is not pedaling on the opposite side, you're going nowhere, or you're going in circles, or you're going towards the buoy. Like me and my daughter had to figure out, okay, she was in the back, I was in the front. If I wanted to row my paddle to the right, she had to do it to the left. And we had to be in sync. And a lot of times you may start to question whether you're supposed to be with your PMDD partner because you're either rowing in the same direction or you're rowing in opposite directions, but it's not taking you in the right direction, or you're concerned with if your goals are aligned. But if you just decide, hey, this is my person, you're going to start rowing in the right direction and you're going to start to feel that harmony. You're going to be like, okay, this is how we do it. And a lot of times it's a matter of just getting back on the same page. There was a time when me and my daughter were rowing the kayak and we both were rowing on the same side. So have you ever been in that place in your relationship where you're both digging really hard, working on the issue in the same specific way? And it's like, hey, everybody has strengths and weaknesses. I don't need you to work on this in the same way that I'm working on it. I need you to work on it in a way that's going to work for you. So like if you're strong in this, like for example, I'm horrible with directions. So what we do for date night is, I plan the date because I'm amazing at that. And then he may drive because who wants to be the one, either I'm looking at the GPS or he's driving and saying, make a right, make a left. This is the traffic. But like, I don't want to hear that. You drive and then I'll plan the date. Like find out what your strengths and weaknesses are and work in that. You should not both be planning the date because you're going to end up fighting. You should both not be trying to drive because you ever been in a car with your partner and you put on the GPS, you decide which way you're going to go and they're telling you to go the opposite way the whole time. Well, you could get better if you go on the I-5 and, it'll be better if you go this way. And it's like, wait a minute, do you want to drive? Like you both can be driving. So there has to be that alignment of goals that you're both using your strengths to go in the direction that's going to move you both forward. But it's about knowing we have the same goal and we're both going to do what we're best at to get to that place. And the next PMDD trauma transformational tool is respect. When you have respect for each other, then you deciding that this is your person and making that decision is so much better in a sense that I know that if we're in conflict and I may be mad at you, I may think you're a piece of crap right now, but I respect you as a person. I'm making a decision to be with you because I respect you. I know the person that you are. A lot of times PMDD partners can act out of character. And by PMDD partners, I mean you who have PMDD and the individuals that don't have PMDD. You're all PMDD partners because you're in a relationship with PMDD, whether you want to be or not. But if I have respect for you, then it can stop me from doing damage because at the end of the day, I'm like, you may be acting crazy right now, but I respect you because I know your character. I know who you are at your core. And I'm leaning on that. I'm not leaning on how you're talking to me right now. I'm not leaning on how you're being right now. I am leaning on who I know that you are. And by knowing that, by having that confidence, that's how you know that that's your person. Because at the end of the day, you know the character of the person that you're deciding to share your life with. And the next PMDD trauma transformational tool is so important is finances. When you decide that your PMDD partner is your person, the way that you handle your finances is going to be different. If you're not on the same page with your PMDD partner, it's likely that you're not sharing anything financial. You probably have separate accounts, separate everything, because you want to be able to make a fast break for it. You don't want to buy any property with this person. You don't want to put their name on anything that you can't quickly take it off of. You want to keep yourselves as separate as possible financially because you know that if at the end of the day you get into a breakup, like you're going to have to split whatever that you're committed financially with. But if you decide you're my partner, you're my person, I don't care. Put their name on it. They're going to be here regardless. Buy the house with their name on it because we're going to be in the house together regardless. That's the power of making a decision. And I know it's really hard to make different decisions financially. Like, oh, I'm thinking we should do this. I'm thinking when you're deciding to be together, you can join everything. And that is where you put your money is where you put your energy, where you put your time. That shows what's important to you. And that's why I put the PMDD Partners Breakup Proof Academy at the price point that I did, and my private sessions at the price point that I did, because you have to be willing to invest. You have to be willing to say, this matters to me. And so I'm going to invest in it. And I could make it more. I could make it less attainable, but why do that? I don't do that. I do it at a point where I know that if it's something that's really important to you, that you would be willing to invest in it. For everything that shows up in your social media, you know, don't get me started on these Beyonce tickets and Taylor Swift tickets, and people are paying thousands of dollars. People who are saying that they're strapped financially. They don't have the money to work on themselves, are finding a way to go to a Beyonce concert, a Taylor Swift concert, a whoever concert for $1,000 for one night. $1,000 for one night, $500 for one night, for someone that's going to give you music and things that are going to make you feel good for 4 hours tops. I'm giving 4 hours. I'm being generous for 4 hours tops. That is not contributing to their relationship. That is not going to, you know, last longer than the evening. The memories, yes, they're amazing. So I'm not saying anything against Beyonce, Taylor Swift, or any other artist, but I'm saying when you really want to do something, when you really, really are deciding, making a decision, this is what makes me feel good and I want to do this, you will find the finances. You will find the money to do it. I've seen it with my own two eyes. I've seen it with family members where they'll be like, oh, can you help me with this? And the next thing I know, I see them at a concert. And I'm like, what? You put your money, your time, and your energy where it matters the most to you. So for those that are saying, oh, I can't afford it, I don't think I should do it, then it doesn't matter to you. It doesn't matter as much as you're saying that it does. Because there's no innovation. There's no like, okay, let me figure out how I can. What can I cut back on? I was like that. I was a single mom for a very long time. And when I decided I wanted to do certain things, like get my doctorate, I didn't have anybody like giving me money to do it. I had to figure, what can I cut down? What can I scale back on? I remember, oh my goodness, I think it was 2016. And 2015. And I really wanted something. I needed something financially. And I didn't have the money. And I literally went 1 year without cable. I literally went 1 year with very minimal things in my home. I moved to a smaller home. I had a 3-bedroom. I moved to like this condo that was like a 1-bedroom. And it was a 2-bedroom, small 2-bedroom in an area that was not my ideal area. It was safe, but it wasn't anywhere near where I was living. And I lived like basic for a year for starting my degree, because I didn't want to have student loans and have to pay out of pocket, or I didn't want to have student loans and be in this realm of debt. So I reallocated all of my finances to make it possible for me to do this. No one gave me anything. No one said, oh, I'm going to make it easy for you to work on your relationship. I'm going to make it easy for you to work on your degree. When you really want to work on something, by making a decision, as soon as you make a decision, you know that there are other decisions after that are going to align with that decision. Meaning when I made a decision to get my degree and not take out a student loan, I knew that I had to change some things in my lifestyle to allow me to do that. I graduated with my doctorate debt-free. Not because anybody gave me money, not because I lived in a way that was aligned with what I said that I wanted, with the decision that I made. I said, I'm going to live this way so that I can get the help that I know that I need. Because when I was getting my doctorate, I had a coach. I had a dissertation coach that cost me thousands of dollars. That's why when people say anything about my prices, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like even my business coach that I have alone, thousands of dollars on a monthly basis. Like I invest on things that I make a decision about. I'm not expecting to get anything. If I get something for free, I'm very grateful, but I know that if I want to go all in, if I want to go to the next level, if I want to customize anything, that I know that I have to invest in it. Because if I'm not investing my money in that, I'm going to invest it in something else. But it's like, what is it? What is this something else? So if you're saying that you want to invest in your PMDD relationship, if you want your PMDD relationship to be better, but you're not willing to invest in it, where is that money going that you're investing in it? Is it actually helping you to reduce your stress in your relationship? So when you're complaining about being stressed in your relationship, are you in a position to do anything about it? Because we always find the resources when we make a decision. When I made a decision that I'm going to 100% be with my PMDD partner, when I got in conflict, I knew, okay, well, I'm just going to have to figure out a way to work this out because I'm committed to being with my PMDD partner. It's like when you decide that you're going to be with your partner and you go through an issue, it's like, well, I'm going to have to create a resource that I have in my life on a day-to-day basis to make sure that my commitment to my PMDD partner is going to be solidified. And that is what I'm here for. And that's what the Breakup Proof Academy is for. And that's what my private sessions are for. You can't have one without the other. You can't say, I'm committed, this is my PMDD partner, but then if anything happens, you have no resource, you have no tool to use. Like, you're going to need support with it. And I know how hard it is to think that, oh, I can do it myself. I can Google it myself. I did that for years in my business. I was trying to do everything myself. And before I got my business mentor, I was trying to like YouTube University it. I'm like, I'm just going to listen to this YouTube video and figure out. It took me a lot of time, money, and energy on things, and it never really worked. Versus I can just invest up front and go ahead and get the support. And that's why I'm urging you to join the PMDD Partners Breakup Proof Academy. It's not because, again, and I want to preface this. This is not my sole source of income. That's why I felt the need to disclose it on the past episode that was talking about how I got my doctorate. I'm not doing this to get rich, right? I know there's a lot of people in the PMDD community right now that are like, oh, we're just finding out what PMDD is and these people are vulnerable. Let me get rich quick, blah, blah. Let me pretend I know what PMDD is and give you some things to do about it. No, I have it. Whether I want to have the disorder or not, I actually have it, but I'm just in a position to do something about it. Right. So I'm providing the services and it's up to you. It is completely up to you whether you take advantage of it. But like I always tell you, I wish that there was someone that said, hey, I know you're suffering right now. I know what it feels like. This is what I did that didn't work. Because in the Breakup Proof Academy, I tell you what doesn't work and what works. I don't just tell you what works. I say, hey, I've tried this before. And I would advise you not to do this because it ended up horribly for me. So it's like, I'm saving you time by having you go through all of these different methods of figuring out, does this work for you? No, if it doesn't work, I'm not going to tell it to you. Everything that I've told to you, everything that I teach you in the academy and all my private partners, PMDD partners, it's all been tested, trialed, researched. And if anybody can do research, it's me. Because I just spent the last 6 years strictly doing research. And not just research of what's in the literature, but research with actual clients, actual PMDD partners, individuals that suffer with PMDD. This is exclusive content that you're getting here on the podcast, and it's exclusive support that you're getting with the private sessions and you're getting with the Breakup Proof Academy. And I created it for you. I'm doing this for you, but I'm doing it in a way that you have to commit. So I would say if you're committing that this is your person, then commit to the tools that you're going to need in order to maintain your relationship with your PMDD partner. It's just like saying, oh, I'm going to lose this weight. I'm going to lose these pounds. But then you have a quick fix, like a 30-day program. Like, I'm going to go keto for 30 days and lose this weight. What are you going to do after that? Like, are you going to go to Edo? Like, what are you going to do after you get to the point of you're finished with this quick fix thing? You have to have a way to maintain any results that you have, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, psychological. You have to have a support system to maintain it. And the same thing is true with your PMDD relationship. You're not expected to do this alone. There's so many practitioners that I'm even talking to, doctors that I'm even talking to. I'm working on something for doctors, for other doctors that are there because they've been reaching out to me. Like, we don't know how to help them. And I'm working on something for them. And it's going to be coming in 2024. But for right now, I'm serving you PMDD partners. And I'm doing it in a way that it's very accessible. It's not for the Breakup Proof Academy. It's $99 a month. That's $3.33 a day. People spend more than that on Starbucks. What is your relationship worth? You have to be in a position of making a decision. This is my PMDD partner. I'm ready to do something about it. This is my PMDD partner. Even if your PMDD partner, like, and it's a 2-for-1. Like, I have a lot of private clients where only one person has to join and they get access to it. So if you share your password with your PMDD partner, I'm not saying, hey, it's 2 of you in the relationship. It's $99 a month. I want you to pay $99 and your partner to pay $9. No, it's essentially $50 a person or $49 a person because both of you are getting access to it and you're getting workbooks. So like, price is not an issue. It's just a matter of, are you in a position to where you're ready to say, this is my PMDD partner and I'm willing to do something. It's like having insurance on your car. I'm willing to do something that makes sure that I don't break up with them because I know that this is my person. And I know that next month I'm probably going to feel like breaking up with them because I feel like breaking up with my PMDD partner every single month. FYI. Every single month he does something and I'm like, I could break up with him. I need to get the heck up out of here, especially because I have an avoidant attachment style. If I didn't use my tools, it would be a picture of me on the logo by myself crying. I would not be half me and him happy because I would have been gone. So I'm letting you know firsthand basis, you have to make the decision that this is your person. And then once you make the decision that this is your person, you have to make the decision to invest, to do something about it, to keep this your person. You can say it today, but like, at what point, what are you willing to do about it? So I am here for you to join, for you to get the lessons, for you to get the tools so that you can make sure that the decision that you make for your PMDD partner to be your person is sustained and they stay your person. We got this.
I hope this PMDD episode helped you and your partner in your struggles within your relationship. And if this is something that you know that you need help with and you need further support, individualized support, make sure you're going to inlovewithpmdd.com and you're getting those private sessions to really work through what you're going through in your relationship, specifically in regards to PMDD. And also, I want you to leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. What this does is it helps other PMDD sufferers and partners find this show that can help them get these free PMDD relationship tools. I remember what it felt like to not know that there were tools out there specifically for PMDD relationships. So I want to make sure that you are sharing these tools with others, share them on your social media, share them with people that you know that are also struggling in their PMDD relationships. Until next episode, this is Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. One more thing, I almost forgot. I now have the Fresh Start PMDD Partners Workbook. What this workbook can do is if you've had past traumatic experiences with your partner, past fights, past arguments, and they keep coming up every single month in PMDD, I created a Fresh Start Workbook so that you can deal with all of the traumatic experiences that have happened in the past in PMDD rage and all of these things so you can stop going through the same cycle again and again and again. So get that workbook. It comes with a video episode of the actual podcast that I recorded on getting a fresh start in your PMDD relationship. So you're not continuing the same cycle again and again and again. So make sure that you get that workbook. And if you need those individualized counseling sessions, you know where to go, inlovewithpmdd.com. Until next time, we got this. Love you.